tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Series A, Dhamma Talk number 31. In the last class, we dealt with effort and energy. We simply talk about what is it, how is it, in every aspect to understand what effort and energy or viriya means. And according to the Buddha, wise attention is the cause and arising of the energy is the effect. He doesn't elaborate much because he was talking to the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis who are being well trained and they are quite intelligent and conversant about things, so they don't need to explain much. And on top of that, he has senior disciples. The senior disciple will go back and then expand it and elaborate much so that the younger bhikkhus and bhikkhunis could understand. And today we are going to discuss on how to arouse the energy or effort. How to arouse. So, as we said, his disciple, not the Buddha just gave a shot to the point. His disciple elaborate and expand because they understood what Buddhists meant. So, some of the things his disciple have elaborated, and down the 25 centuries, there are many great monks and arahats have risen, and they also expanded and elaborate so that we can understand. And these are all written, and you can read it in the commentaries to the scriptures in the Deepen, the 3 baskets of Buddha's teaching. So in here, there are altogether 10 points of them. But most of the things that make you do arouse your energy or effort is, there's a requirement there. Requirement is you need to be a Buddhist, not only a mediocre Buddhist, but devoted to the Buddhism and the practice, the Dharma, and also have a very strong faith and confidence to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And also one accept the principle of cause and effect, especially that's relation to past life to this present and the present life connection to the future lives. That kind of principles and beliefs are required. If you have that, these 10 points we are going to discuss will be very effective. If not, it might not really touch you well. And at the same time, even though there are 10 points, what's been described here, you don't need to do all 10. You just look at in those 10 and which one touches you most. And if you use that one or two, then you can really arouse your energy. So keep in mind, things that we are going to discuss are, you are already a practitioner or seriously practicing Buddhism and have a strong saddha, faith and confidence in the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. The first one is we are practicing and you have lots of energy, but at one point your energy becomes low, or your energy or effort becomes stagnant, low and stagnant. And even to the point of sometime you become totally bored and wanting to quit. In those periods, those times, you have to arouse and step up your energy. When we are talking last time too, the first one is the initial effort or energy. The initial effort it comes quite naturally. It's just like a kid with a new toy. But after a while, it wanes down, okay? Because your expectations are very high at the beginning. But when you actually walk on the path, you find that it is not exactly as you expected. It doesn't happen as you expected. It doesn't happen when you want it to happen. You find it very tedious, very demanding, and sometimes even right down difficult to the point of wanting to quit. Before you think you have a great commitment and your commitment wavers, you want to surrender. That kind of a stage. When you are facing with that kind of a difficulty, that second stage of energy, let's call it a boosting energy. You have previous energy, but it was down, so you need to boost it up. Second stage is boosting energy. That is required. And in those things, in those times, these are the kind of things one can use. In all Buddhists, we believe in the planes, different planes of existence. In general, one is the woeful states, in which there are constant state of suffering exists. Second one is the human realm, and the third one is Deva realms or celestial realm. And the top one is Brahma realm, altogether 31 plane of existence. And all the living beings, endlessly, they go up and down and round and round, endlessly. You cannot get out of that cycle of birth and death. Based on your actions, you might climb up to the higher realms, and then when all these wholesome merit that you have acquired is being spent, from that higher realm you fall back down to the lower realm, and endlessly going on. That's called samsara. And Buddhism is to practice so that you can get out of that cycle of birth and death. That is the one in one way you can present it, that is the objective of Buddhism, the cycle of birth and death. So as it goes round and round, and right now we are in a human realm, we are practicing, we don't have energy. And at that moment, think about this, okay? Rebirth. Okay? Rebirth in the four woeful states. Four woeful states are the states in which there's a constant state of suffering. They are called apaya. Okay? Apaya. Apaya is two words, apa and aya. Apa means devoid of, doesn't exist, cannot exist. Aya means kusala, wholesomeness. Okay? So apaya means these are the states of existence in which wholesomeness cannot exist. wholesomeness cannot exist. You cannot do any good deeds because you are struggling and struggling and struggling, constantly fighting the suffering. And there are in general, there are four types in these kind of suffering states. Constant suffering. One is called, the closest one, the translation is, you can call it hell. Okay, hell realm. And another one is animal realms. And the third one is, they call it the hungry ghost realm. And the fourth one is demonic realm. Those are the four different kind of existence where there is a constant state of suffering. So let's forget about what we cannot really detect or know, or we can use it as an example. So just look for something that we know. Animals and birds and insects. It is in the same plane as us, same plane as the human being. So we can see, we can hear, we can touch, we can study, investigate. So if you look at the animals, what? Only the strong survive, the weak perish. The strong bully the weak. And constantly their time are spent on procreation, survival. Let's call it survival. Procreation is a part of survival. Constantly looking for food and constantly looking for a mate. In other words, all their time are spent on that. They don't have time for anything for kusala, merit. In fact, they don't even have a capacity, their brain capacity are not to the level where they have a understanding for those kind of concepts. That is a state. So we can see if one existed in that animal's realm, it is very difficult to do anything good and even difficult to get out of that state. And let's even see the one that in the human, we are so lucky in a place and a time where we are, but even now you look at there are places, we call it Yemen or Syria, there's a war constantly going on, day and night bombarding all these bombs. In some of the African countries, all the warlords, everybody live in fears. You are 10, 12 years old, drafted and put a gun in your hand. You have no choice but to kill. And the young females, as soon as come of age, they have been taken for the use for sex or slavery, sex trades. They do not have any moment to do anything good and wholesome. It is a constant struggle, constant sin. Basically, that is the hell in the human realm. You don't have to go and look for hell somewhere else. We can see right under our eyes. And the Buddha said, most of the living beings, okay, those are in the human realm and those are in the celestial realms, especially in the human realm. They are just like visitors. Okay? A visitor come to your home and stay there a day or two, maybe a week, and then gone. Maybe another 5 years, 10 years, or maybe not. Just simply visiting a visitor. They are not the resident. And what the Buddha said is, living beings in the human realms are just like visitors. They are simply visiting this realm. But their actual resident is mostly in the four woeful states. That is Buddha's word. So we have a very rare chance to be in here. And if you contemplate on that existence, okay, the probability is a lot higher for us to be in the four woeful states, and the probabilities are very little to be in the human state. And if you contemplate on it, it is very scary. Forget about hell, so-called hell. Just the human hell in those countries where they are constantly suffering. Just imagine you being born and you being living in there. What kind of suffering it could inflict upon you. These kind of things you contemplate and you reflect, contemplate and reflect. And when you contemplate and reflect, the fear will strike upon you. Oh, it is very scary. And suddenly you would really wanting to escape from this kind of misery and pain and suffering. And the only way is, as a Buddhist, to practice is to get out of the cycle of birth and death. As long as you are in the cycle of birth and death, that place is surely one time or the other will be there. One little slip, it can be there. So by reflecting on the state of misery, one can arouse the energy. You got scared and you were wanting to walk hard, practice hard, and the energy boost up. That's one way. And also, think about this. There's a four rare opportunities in the Buddhist scripture. One of the rare opportunities is to be born as a human being, number one. It's a very rare opportunity. Number two is, even if you're born to be healthy and to be safe, that's a rare opportunity, healthy and safe. And number three, to be able to meet the sasana. Sasana is where you can practice Buddhism. Let's put it very specifically to get out of this cycle of birth and death is mindfulness, insight meditation. That's also a very rare opportunity. And the fourth rare opportunity is to be born at the time of a living Buddha. Those four are called rare opportunities. And for us, we have the first three. Okay? We don't catch the time when Buddha was alive. When Buddha is alive, if you happen to cross his path, if you meet him, the chances of escaping from samsara become very, very easy, probability very high. But we are born as a human being, we are healthy, and we are safe and secure. And also, we are right in the present. Not only in the present, we are actually practicing this mindfulness insight meditation. We have one of the three greatest rare opportunity with us. Let's use it. Reflect on the misery of it. And by doing so, goosebumps will rise on your body. And there's a great volition and urge of wanting to practice will arise in you again. In other words, the energy will arise. And also, not the Buddha, the rare opportunities had by Buddha, the wise of the 25th century is also there are four good opportunities. Four good opportunities. One, to be born as a human being. And secondly, to be born at the time of sasana, where Buddha's teaching exists. Okay. Buddhism and Buddha is very precise. Buddha never say this, Buddha's teaching will exist forever throughout the universe. Throughout the universe, there are zillions and trillions of time without any Buddhist teaching. Buddha's teaching arises once in a blue moon. And even with that, this present Buddha Gautama, since the time that he started preaching, he said, my teaching, my true teaching will exist only for 5,000 years. After 5,000 years, there will be no more true Buddhism anymore. In other words, Buddhism that is true and correct enough so one can practice and get out of samsara. Very short period, 5,000 years. And we have already passed 2,500 years. We have only 2,500 years left. And let's suppose you are reborn as a human being, and if you live for 100 years, you only have 25 lives to practice. That is very optimistically speaking. Okay? To be born in a time when Buddha Sasana that is a good opportunity. And also to be born in a place and a time where that teaching is available. Okay? If you go to a communist country, you won't be able to get it. If you go to a dictatorship country, you won't be able to get it. You know many places where you won't be able to get even an exposure, even the hearing the word. So to be able to live and able to receive or study or investigate or practice, that's also a good opportunity. So those are the one. Let's consider we have a good opportunity. We were born as a human being, we were healthy, we are born at the time of the sasana, and we are in a place where we can practice. And finally, we have teachers who can provide us, especially the points that we really need to improve. If they point out our improvement, we can cut down a lot of times. Otherwise, it'll take a long time. So, if you put all these together and reflect upon it, a desire to practice and work hard will arise. That is the first point. How to arouse your energy. And secondly is to arouse your energy, one needs to reflect on the benefits of energy and effort. What are the benefits of energy and effort? Just look at it in a blanket way, not even a Buddhist. Is there anything in this world that we know of, if we want to accomplish something that is accomplished without effort? Nothing is accomplished without effort. Whatever you want to receive, attain, investigate, explore, to accomplish, it requires effort. It is the vital point or requirement to accomplish any task. That's it, that's first and foremost. And we have gone through the last time, even among the efforts that the whole world use, the standard and even the above standard, and the efforts the Buddhist needs to succeed in their practice. It's totally, entirely two different qualities. This quality is far, far higher than the other parts. We discussed it in detail last week. So, effort or energy is the key to all accomplishment. of any project or task that you undertake. And in here, you need this effort and energy to practice what we are practicing. You need more effort and energy to go through the series of all the insights. In other words, the true nature of mind and matter and every possible aspect we can understand. Those are called insights. Insights are those things which it will take you beyond the reach of the lobha, dosa and moha, greed, anger and delusion. These are the ones. And to have these things, you really require the effort and energy that the Buddhas recommended. And then with that effort and energy, not only that, you can attain nobleship. In other words, you are a human being, but you are not the average worldlings. You become a noble person or Arya. And what is the big thing about this noble person? There are 4 levels of noble person. If you reach the first level of noble person, you are assured you will be reborn only 7 times maximum, and then you will escape from this realms of birth and death, samsara, the cycle of birth and death. That's the first level. If you go to the second level, within about 2 or 3 existence, you are out of it. And if you got to the third level, you'll be reborn only once. And even that, you are not going to be reborn in the lower state. You'll be reborn in the highest realm, which is Brahma realm. And if you reach the 4th stage, that is the last existence, and then you are out of this realms of rebirth. Only when you get out of this realms of rebirth, then you are totally free from physical and mental suffering. Even if you are fully enlightened, right now in this life, you are still not free from suffering. Of course, you are free from all mental suffering, but you still have to bear the burden of this physical body. Becoming an arhat doesn't give you a Superman body resisted from all things. It is just like any other bodies, receptive to everything, whatever the environment is throwing. You still have to carry the burden of the body. So, if you look that way, this effort or energy, the benefit is, it could even take you out of this realm of rebirth. In other words, it could take you to the state of Nibbana, the supreme bliss. Again, lack of a better word, we use the word supreme bliss or supreme peace. Those are the benefits. And some people might contemplate on the misery because that's more effective for them. And some people might contemplate on this. What kind of stage we can rise and what kind of good things. The other first one is you contemplate on the stick. And second one is you contemplate on the carrot. You have to know your psyche, which one works for you. Use that one. That is the second. And the third one is one needs to think about my mind is not as sharp as I used to. One needs to think about all the people, all the living beings that have trodden through ahead of us and got out of samsara. So in other words, you think about all the Buddhas. There are Buddhas and Buddhas and Buddhas, countless Buddhas. They said if you go and count the sand grains on an ocean beach, the number of the sand grains on the ocean beach is smaller than the numbers of Buddhas that have been arisen in the past. That much, the time is so long, uncountable. So these Buddhas have come and gone. And also there's called Pichika Buddha. They call it a silence Buddha. They are also Buddha, but they do not preach, they do not teach, they practice, and they have the understanding exactly as the full enlightened Buddha, except that they don't preach. There's a countless Pichika Buddha. In other words, they practice themselves, they enlighten by themselves without any teacher, but they do not teach because they don't have the capacity to teach, or they were enlightened in a period, even though if they teach, it will not be effective. The Buddha has to really choose a perfect timing, okay, where the people can receive, and that is the time they arise. And also, there are countless number of Aggasavaka. Aggasavaka is, as an example, like there's a Buddha Gautama, and he has the two senior main disciples. Okay, one is called Satipatthana, and he is Bhanan as far as the wisdom is concerned. Whatever Buddha said, he fully understands. Buddha just have to say one sentence, and he understood what the Buddhas meant, and he will go back and teach others in an elaborate way, so that the other with less intelligence could understand, relatively less intelligence. And also there's another disciple called Shimoggallana. In other words, he has the psychical power, Bhanan, to the Buddha. And these are called Aggasavaka. And then called Mahasavaka. Mahasavaka is a disciple. They are not as in the same level as this Sariputta, Aggasavaka. Agga means right at the top. Maha is great. And these are one like Shin Ananda, his attendant, okay, Shin Mahakassapa, and so on. Other very notable, they contribute quite a bit into the Buddhism, notable monks or Rahat, they call Mahasavaka. And then Arahat. Arahat is anybody who got totally enlightened and then get out of Lobha, Dosa and Moha, is totally uprooted, and that is the last existent before they passed away. And these things you don't get automatically. Buddha, to become a Buddha, Buddha has to practice 4 incalculable eons and then 100,000 world cycle. That long he has to practice and perfect his parami, perfection. That long it takes for his perfection. That's a 4 incalculable, okay, world cycle plus 100,000 world cycle. And to become an Ekasavaka, that person has to practice 2 incalculable eons of one cycle and 100,000 one cycle. In other words, it took half the time as to become a Buddha. And the same thing to become a Mahasavaka, notable monks at the time of Buddha. They take 1/4 of the time of a Buddha. In other words, 1 incalculable countless eons and 100,000 world cycle. To get these kind of position or wisdoms, they have to put up that much effort to do that. And Arahat, they don't have a time limit, specific time, but a lot less than that. You can become an Arahat. Around Buddha's time, there's a lot of Arahats. Nowadays, it's very, very few. So, think about all these people who have trodden ahead of us, and gone through, and then contribute to the humanity what they have contributed. And then if you reflect upon it, and then also think, I am walking on the same path as they are. You think about their virtues, their effort, their diligence, how much they have done, and also, I am also walking on the same path. Of course, it is taught and given to us by the Buddha. By reflecting as such, your energy or effort could arise. That's the third way of contemplating or reflecting how to arouse energy or effort in you. Number 4. Number 4 is whenever we are practicing, or even the monks, whenever they go, we have to depend on the generosity of the people who support us. The monks, especially if you are a monk, they totally dependent upon the public for their existence, for their food, for their clothes, for even a shelter to live. And for us too, when we go and practice, we depend a lot upon it. Of course, you can say, we pay all the expenses, $35 a day. I pay for the food, I pay for the bed, I pay for the shelter. You can say that. But regardless, all of you have been to the retreat. There are lots of people who comes and volunteer, who bring food. And especially some of you who go to annual retreat. There are people, they cook and they live in Vancouver, Richmond, Surrey. They cook food and they bring all the way there just in time to feed you your lunch. They have a lot of sada, a lot of great volition to assist those people who are practicing to escape from the realms of birth and death. Because for them, the way they look at it is they cannot practice themselves. So they are supporting people who are really practicing. And that will become a good karma, a good merit for them. And that good karma will assist them in their future life to practice. That is their belief system, or faith, sada. So there's a lot of people who donate time, who donate service, who donate food. And even the building that we are practicing, a lot of people donate lots of money, from about $5, $10 to $100,000 and so on. These people have donated. So what it is these people donated with, through volition. They want to help the people who are practicing, so that the people who are practicing will have no worry to practice. And also it gives them a good karma good merit for their future lives, good existence. It assists them in their own practice in future lives. So that is the belief. So that's a fact. And if you reflect upon it, okay, we always say, so and so donated the foods, may she be well, happy and peaceful. We recite it and we send loving kindness. What we are doing is, we are expressing our gratitude for their help and assistance. And in Buddhism, one of the principles that we need to understand is helping is good, okay? But among helping, there are various levels of helping. I will use the simple example first. Okay, there's a starving nation in Africa. You send tons and tons of bags of rice. Yeah, it helps them, it relieves their suffering, it's great. But how much? 1 month, 2 months and gone. But instead, if you teach them how to grow rice, how to plow the field, how to put fertilizer, and here are the seeds. If you give them the method how to grow and assist them, all their requirements how to grow, they can provide that food endlessly year after year because they know how to do themselves. So donating tons and tons of rice and donating the art of how to grow their own food. Second one is superior. And in the same way too, in Buddhism, we can give. We give time, we give service, okay? We give material and so on, donate food, donate buildings and so on. But according to the Buddha, the best donation, the best gift one can give to the other is to teach them how to be wholesome, to teach them how to avoid unwholesomeness, to teach them how to become morally upright, to teach them how to grow their knowledge and wisdom. That is the best gift one can give. Because just like that, the other one is you buy them some food or you buy some clothes. Okay, that's great, fantastic. You go food donation, great. They eat once, twice and gone. But if you teach them how to conduct their life, how to avoid the wrongs and how to be right, then they become morally upright. They become outstanding citizen. I'm not talking about famous, high status, just a human being that deserves respect. And once they have that, they don't stop there. They turn around and give others. They turn around and give others. They become that example, and it's a never-ending, never-stopping process. If you give somebody moral knowledge and wisdom, that is just like teaching and giving a person how to grow your own rice and vegetables, and it'll go on forever. The same. That's why Buddha said the gift of Dharma. What is Dharma? To avoid what is not wholesome, to do what is wholesome, to develop your skill in your knowledge and intelligence, and eventually grow wisdom. That one is a part of you, and it doesn't stop with you, and it spread and it spread and it spread to go perpetually. That's why it said, among all gifts, the gift of Dharma excels all others. That's a statement Buddha made. So in here, go back to our contemplation, is that if we truly want to express our gratitude, express our gratitude to the people who are donating us, what you do was we practice harder and harder and harder. The harder we practice, the more purer we get, the more we have progressed in our Dharma, based on the sustenance that they donate through the law of cause and effect. They have accumulated great good karma, they have accumulated great wholesomeness. Based on the effort that you put in, they are good karma that they are trying to accumulate, expand leaps and bounds. You are giving them great karma. And if you are slouching and lazy and slicking off, just the volition that they have. Energy doesn't flow. But if you have a great effort and a great progress, they also get a great karmic energy. As such, in that way, you can truly express your gratitude to the people who are helping you so that you can meditate. That is the fourth way of reflecting to arouse your energy. And the fifth one, altogether 10, I think today we'll finish 5. The fifth one is it compares with the inheritance. Okay, we all have, whether it is rich, very rich, or not that rich. When somebody passed away, they left something for their loved ones. Okay, the inheritance that you get. And these inheritance you get mostly in here is nowadays is just material, monetary, house, car, and jewelries, and so on, stocks and bonds, and so on, material. These things, even though you get it, okay, it may last long in your hand, or it may not last long in your hand. All these things, they go up and down. Okay, we hear many times, some people go very rich and suddenly, instantly, you've heard that this go bankruptcy, that go bankruptcy, go. These wealth, they are not permanent, they cannot be maintained. It won't be with you all the time. It goes up and down. They have their own way based on their actions. And sometimes, even if your actions are right, the whole environments go bad. More like depression period, Great Depression. You can't. These are the controlling factors. So whatever material inheritance you have, okay, they do not last long with you. And on top of that, when you die, you cannot take a penny with you. Everything is left behind. Whatever, however you love and you protect while you're alive. When you're dead, that's it. Things that you appreciate and value, the one who have inherited might not even appreciate, might even throw away. You never know. So nothing is permanent, nothing can be maintained, nothing can be controlled. It has its own way, you cannot take with you. That is the fact. But in here, when we practice, and we are practicing for what? We are practicing to escape from the realms of birth and death, the final goal, of course. But before we reach to the final goal, you have to go through a series of being a noble person. Noble person. And even before the noble person, you are practicing so that you have a good existence and you are a good, morally upright and good, outstanding person who is helpful and considerate about the environment and the people around you, who are willing and happy to help people around for others people's benefit. Those are the stages that go up and up and up. And when you are practicing for these things, okay, let's say a noble person, you can go up to the noble person. But before the noble person too, these qualities are there, but not in full form. When you become a noble person, you have inherited you have inherited 7 types of, let's call it jewels. 7 types of wealth you have inherited. And these are called, first and foremost is saddha, faith and confidence. Saddha. Secondly, it is sila. Sila is morality. We already know 5 precepts, 8 precepts, 10 precepts, and so on. Okay. Saddha and sila. And the third one is hiri. Hiri is, English translation is moral shame. You are shameful to commit anything that is unwholesome. How shameful? Even give an example. When you look at the example, it is easier to understand than the words moral shame. Let's say there's a pile of vomits a drunk have vomited out, and you don't feel like touching it. You don't even want to touch with a 10-foot pole. You're repulsive of it. In that same manner, you are repulsive of the unwholesome acts, immoral acts. That is called hiri. So that is the third jewel. The fourth is uttapa. Uttapa is translated as moral dread. You are scared, afraid, fearful of the consequences that will follow due to unwholesome acts. Because everything is cause and effect, cause and effect. If you do unwholesome acts, if you do wrong things, the wrong result will follow. And you are afraid of, scared of as the result of the immoral acts. The example given is, there's a snake, poisonous snake, and you won't go close to that snake, you will go far away from the snake because you know the danger, you know what kind of result it will get if you go and touch it. That is the example given. So that is the fourth. First of all is saddha, faith and confidence. Secondly is sila, precepts. The third is hiri, moral shame. The fourth is uttapa, moral dread. 4. And the fifth one is sutta. Sutta is accumulation of knowledge. Okay, reading books, listening to Dharma talk, studying. Okay. Of course, as we are a Buddhist, you study the Buddhist scriptures. That doesn't mean that you have to eliminate what is happening in this world. Even what is happening in this world, which is directly connected and concerned with people, that affects people, that affects the suffering of the people and welfare of the people, that should be studied. that should be well informed so that you can utilize properly. Not only reading Dharma books and Dharma books and Dharma books, those things that affects people's sufferings and people's welfare should be well informed and used appropriately. That's called Sutta number 5. And number 6, called Saga. Saga is everything you have, whether it is material or whether it is mental, knowledge, wisdom, everything. You share and you share and you share with people. Of course, not like a blinded fool. You have to have a wisdom. Okay? How to share, what to share, whom to share, when to share. Your sharing, are they receptive of this? Your sharing, will that be really useful for them? These kind of things, suitability, appropriateness, in terms of times, in terms of place, the type of people, personality, these have to be very well rounded. Called Saga, sharing everything that you have, both material and immaterial. 7. The 7th one is Pinya, wisdom. Wisdom is very specific. It is knowing the true nature of mind and matter. To be more specific, all the specific characteristics of mind and matter, general characteristics of mind and matter. And also experiencing these wisdoms of the noble persons, that kind of knowledge or information that you have in you, a part of you, not as an intellectual memory. Those understanding and you become one, and that is called wisdom. Those are the 7. Repeat again. First, saddha, faith and confidence. Second, morality, precepts. And third, hiri, moral shade. Fourth, uddappa, moral dread. 5. Sutta, knowledge, information, based on the beneficiality of the humanity and the Dharma that we are practicing. And the 6th, Saga, sharing everything that you can and that you have. And the 7th, Pinya, wisdom. Those are the 7 jewels of noble person. And these are, they become a part of you. And when you have these, you have inherited from the Buddha. You have inherited from the Dharma. You have inherited from all the noble persons ahead of you, all the Arhats. These inheritance, if you have these things, it is really good for what you have right now, right here as well. It's very beneficial for you and everybody around you. And also, when you passed away to the next life, they go along with you. It is not that it is left here and you start from square one again. No, these are the inheritance, the wealth that you can carry with you to your next life, till to the end of the journey, Nibbana. So if you reflect upon these qualities of these 7 jewels of inheritance, and if that approach touches you, Contemplate on it. If you contemplate on it, your energy will arise, your effort will arise, and you will practice harder again. The boosting energy, the boost up energy will arise in you, and you will be working very hard. Those are the 5 of the 10 causes how to arouse your energy. And we will deal with the remaining 5 next week. So may all of you be able to practice Satipatthana Vipassana meditation and know how to arouse energy whenever necessary. And may you be able to attain Nibbana as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.